I always thought I knew what betrayal felt like, but I never imagined I'd live through the kind that strips away everything. Not just your freedom, but your very identity. Her name was Celia. Beautiful, sharp, magnetic. We met as I was finishing my last deployment in the military. She worked at a small law office and had a way of making me believe in things I'd never allowed myself to hope for: peace, stability, a future worth building. 6 months after I returned home, we married. We bought a small house. I picked up work in construction, surrounded by fellow veterans. She climbed fast in her firm. Life seemed steady, safe. I believed we were partners in everything. But underneath the calm surface, things were quietly rotting. Her late nights at work became more frequent, explained away with client meetings and deadlines. She became guarded with her phone, always locking it, always keeping it face down. I chose trust over suspicion. I'd faced war zones. I thought I could survive anything except doubting my wife. Until the night everything was ripped apart. I came home to flashing lights, sirens bouncing off the walls of my house. Armed officers were everywhere, shouting commands, forcing me to ground. They said they had found large quantities of cocaine stashed in my garage, hidden under my toolbox. There were burner phones, too, registered in my name. It wasn't a mistake. It was a setup. I screamed that it wasn't mine, begged them to check again. But they had warrants. They had evidence. And Celia stood in the yard, arms folded, tears in her eyes. She whispered, "I'm so sorry, I didn't know." But her expression didn't match her words. It wasn't grief. It was satisfaction. At trial, she took the stand against me, told the court I had grown unstable since my return, claimed I was violent, paranoid, said she'd found the drugs and was scared for her life. The evidence stacked up like bricks forming my prison walls. My lawyer fought, but her words, her tears, painted me guilty. I was sentenced to 6 years behind bars. 3 months into my sentence, divorce papers arrived. She took the house, the cars, drained every account, even sold my military medals. Everything I'd earned was gone. I was left behind, forgotten, but I wasn't defeated. In my 4th year, I met Calder, a former cop who'd been framed himself after exposing corruption in his department. When I told him my story, he didn't flinch. Instead, he leaned forward and said, "If they built this many lies, eventually they'll slip, and when they do, we'll be ready." He taught me patience, taught me to think strategically, not emotionally. And thanks to his legal knowledge, I filed a motion that shaved time off my sentence. When I finally stepped out of prison early, Calder was waiting, so it was something else. As I left the prison gates, a man approached me, a plainclothes officer I didn't recognize. He introduced himself quietly. "You don't know me," he said, "but I have information you need. Your ex-wife? She's trying to frame you again. She's already looking for someone to plant more drugs. This time, she wants you locked up forever." The rage inside me burned hot. But I was no longer the man who'd stumbled into her trap years ago. I wouldn't react with anger. I would dismantle everything she'd built, piece by piece. The officer was an old friend of Calder's, Detective Mendes. He handed me a burner phone. There was only one message on it. "Thursday, Duca's bar. She'll be there with him. Stay invisible." I didn't ask who him was, but soon enough I learned. Celia's new partner was Ethan Drake, my old squad mate from the military. We weren't close, but I knew the type: ambitious, opportunistic, the kind who always looked just past you rather than at you. After I was locked up, he slipped into my life like a snake. Celia and Ethan had built an entire fantasy world off my ruin. Expensive vacations, joint accounts filled with money she stole from me, but their arrogance made them sloppy. With Calder's help, I rented an apartment across from Ethan's townhouse where Celia now lived. We installed hidden cameras, set up long-range microphones, deployed drones to gather audio and video. Within weeks, we collected hours of footage. Ethan bragging on the phone, she played him like a fool. He still thinks she cried herself to sleep. Celia laughed. "Let him rot. If he breathes too free, I'll plant something again. He'll disappear for good this time." Every word made my blood boil, But I stayed focused. Anger doesn't win wars. Patience does. I reached out to my old military brothers, men who understood loyalty and the price of betrayal. They didn't hesitate. Malik, a cyber expert, hacked into Celia's encrypted backups, found deleted messages, banking records, secret files labeled Plan B. Sean, now working private security, provided advanced surveillance equipment. Every whisper, every scheme, we recorded it all. The first strike was subtle. I anonymously leaked a short, blurry clip of Celia and Ethan discussing the frame-up, just enough to spark questions. The video spread fast through veteran communities, then into mainstream media. Suddenly, the victim wife narrative crumbled. Celia's firm quietly removed her from their website. But this was just the beginning. The second phase hit their finances. Malik uncovered that Celia had forged my signature on tax documents to fund her new businesses. Fraudulent loans, fake expenses, all tied to me without my knowledge. We turned the evidence over to the IRS. Her accounts were frozen. Credit cards declined. Lawyers abandoned her as the financial house of cards collapsed. Then came Ethan's downfall. Malik had discovered damning emails where Ethan described falsifying evidence during my trial. Ethan, still working part-time as a law enforcement consultant, had tampered with forensic reports through a crooked friend in the lab. We delivered everything to Detective Mendes, who quietly reopened my case. Internal Affairs launched a full investigation. Ethan was suspended immediately, his home raided. His smug face now flashed across every news network. Celia tried to distance herself, but her name was already drenched in scandal. The final blow was public. We released the full surveillance footage, crystal clear video of Ethan breaking into my home before my arrest, planning the drugs, then meeting Celia to celebrate. No commentary, just truth. The video went viral again. This time, national news picked it up. Her fake charities lost sponsors overnight. Ethan's family disowned him. I filed a civil lawsuit for defamation, malicious prosecution, and emotional damages. My legal team? Veterans turned lawyers who'd stood by me through it all. One afternoon, Celia confronted me in a quiet park. She looked nothing like the woman who once watched me get sentenced. Hollow, desperate, she whispered, "Why are you doing this?" I let her sit in the silence before answering. "You destroyed my life, lied to the world. Watch me rot while you build a life with my brother in arms. And now you ask why." She started to cry. I didn't mean for it to go this far. "No," I said, "you didn't expect me to survive." I handed her an envelope, a copy of the lawsuit, and I'm still not finished. In court, everything unraveled. Ethan was convicted on multiple felony charges: tamper with evidence, perjury, obstruction of justice. Sentenced to 9 years without parole. His career permanently destroyed. Celia lost the civil case. The judge ordered her to pay over $2 million in damages, money she no longer had. Her remaining assets were liquidated. Her reputation was permanently stained. The media devoured the fall of the golden couple. I gave one short statement to the press. I don't need apologies. I don't need revenge. I just needed the truth. And the truth was enough. After that, I vanished from public view. A year later, I opened a small veteran support center, funded by the settlement. I named it after a brother we lost long before all this began, Camp Reyes. His words still guide me. You only lose if you let them take your peace. Now, I live quietly in a small town. I don't date much, but I wake up every morning free, without nightmares. Occasionally, I get letters from others who found strength in my story. I read every single one, because in the end, my fight was never about revenge. It was about reclaiming my life.